Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a chest and tricep day. And so what's going on today? It is super cold outside. Cold front came through. I had the door closed, so it's a little dark in here. Also, really slept in later than I wanted. I've been needing a lot of sleep lately. So I decided on some of this, let's just do a top set of bench, and then I really want to focus on just some quality volume. Last week I went a little heavier on everything. And there's a point where I go, I got to just build some muscle, guys. As I continue to get leaner, let's just hammer down high quality volume. Let's continue to keep these top sets in. The last couple of weeks, 3 weeks actually, I did a 3x3 on the bench. And this week I'm like, let's just do one top set with 315, get a good triple in, see if I can build that back up. Like for an all-out set, I think with a little work I can, if I can keep building the chest and triceps up. And then let's just do a little bit of back down work. So again, I was surprised I didn't get 6 to 7 on both of these. I went ahead and just did 275, and I'm like, well, let's make sure we keep the arch real small, nice wide grip, and I wanted really solid pauses. So what I'm trying to do on a lot of this, and definitely the last set of incline I did that, I think where I want to go, better and better pauses on all this stuff. And even if it costs me some reps, again, the idea quality. So again, I want to make sure that we're really getting the chest growing from all this. And then I'm going to hammer down with more tricep volume. And you guys will see what I do towards the back end. Yeah, tricep volumes need to continue to come back up, but I need hard sets to where I'm not trying to push just big weight, right? I really just need sets pushed to the limit with full ranges of motion on triceps. So again, I need the triceps to continue to grow. Got to get them growing. And so on a lot of this benching, I'm going to take it out real wide so that I continue to grow the chest. But again, what I'm noticing, man, I ran out of steam on this third set. I ran out of steam. Like you guys can tell, I'm not pausing as long on some of them because I could feel my chest was just kind of like, we don't have a lot left. Now, part of it could be the cold because I'm out here in the freezing cold. Don't have a heater or anything in the garage. Maybe a factor. So in any event, though, I still wanted to hammer down, get really, really high quality work there. And we did. So pretty happy with it. Like I said, I felt like maybe last week I was a hair stronger. I don't know, looking at that first set. I think it looks pretty similar to the set last week. But when we did the back down work, we could see it. So incline, same thing. Like I really want to just get some high quality incline in. Now, one of the problems I do have is that my butt does slide up a little bit. And part of that is because I'm stuck on the floor, right? The type of bench I have, it puts me into that position. If I was at a commercial gym with the one with the footrest, maybe it would be a little different, and I feel like it would be. But working with what I have, right? Working with what I have, but happy with it. The first set, we got 8 reps, and I was thinking, am I going to be able to replicate that? I ended up doing 7 and 7 on the next 2, and then the last one, I really paused all of them. The final set, I'm like, let's get as many as we can, whatever it is, whether it's 5, whether it's 10. But I wanted to pause them because some of these were a real soft touch. So notice on all of this, though, a lot of eccentric control. Big problem a lot of guys have, again, on their incline bench. They love to bounce it. Okay, you guys have to stop doing that. Get a nice wide grip. Control that weight. Control that weight on the way down. Because, again, we're not chasing on an incline bench, guys, even though maybe you are trying to hit a big max, but bouncing it doesn't count any more than it does on a bench. So you've got to look at the incline and say, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to use this to just build the holy hell out of my chest, right? I want that thickness. I want that separation in that upper chest. I want to continue to build that up. That's what the incline brings to the table. Use the tool correctly for the job, because I know obviously my arms need the most work, but I really do need that chest, especially I just want to keep filling out that upper chest. But also keeping in mind that carries over to the flat bench, right? It carries over to the flat bench. So again, we're going to try to build muscle there, but again, I'm looking at it and I know the triceps have to get more work. So we're just going to push them hard after. So yeah, this is all a little bit heavier, right? This barbell work is always going to be heavier, right? Everything is like 3 to 8 reps right now here. And that's okay. That's a good spot to be in because we do need to get stronger. We need that mechanical tension. We need those bigger weights. But notice everything is controlled, right? There's no cheating. There's no bouncing, okay? All the eccentrics are under control. Most of the stuff is either really good pauses or soft touch and go. Then afterwards, I'm like the same thing. Let's start pausing the dumbbells, get the deepest stretch that I can get without letting it flare into a bad position. Okay, now granted there, I've had people say, but you can touch in that spot, but yeah, my elbows are fully tucked, right? With a little bit of elbow flare down at 45, we can't fully do that. But they're actually getting pretty deep. So what I want to focus on with the dumbbell, okay, so even if I'm forced to trim all the way down and use a 75s, which is what I'm just going to do here, use 75s. Focus on that bottom position, okay? This is not an ego lift, right? This is not an ego lift. This is a finesse movement that we are using to build the chest. So in that case, you know what? We can lift the big weights on the bench press, right? I can do top sets of 315 or more, right? We get all the way down to this is that third exercise. And I think when the lighting's good, we can see that chest separation when it's nice and dim. When I get in the sunlight, it's a little different. But again, I'm also seeing in this, it also shows that the waistline has to continue to tighten up, and it will. We're going to keep the carbs low, keep the fasted training going. I'm going to take calories, maybe push them down just a hair. And that's happening by, like this week, I cut all the peanut butter and stuff out. It's going to be pretty much meat, dairy, eggs, avocados, vegetables. But I'm doing that ultra filtered milk, so even the carbs are pretty low. Even that whole giant container is really only, I think about 40, 50 grams of carbs, and it's all ultra low GI. So that's pretty much my carb source, unless we want to count spinach and avocados, which I don't. But yeah, so it's meat, eggs, dairy is the name of my game, and then obviously avocados and vegetables, pretty much all we're going to eat for a while, and keep that tightened up. It's the same thing if I go out. I'm going to make sure I only do, steak and vegetables or whatever anytime I go out. But on these, I couldn't even get 10 reps on the last one. When I finally got there, my chest was so fatigued from the pausing and that deeper range of motion. That's all we had, and that's okay, because that's what we want. That's what we want. All of this is bodybuilding. After the benching, everything is bodybuilding, just like on the other days, After we deadlift or after we box squat, it's bodybuilding work, guys. So the pullover is kind of the same thing. I've been pushing the weight, trying to hammer down with the 90 pounds. And I've looked at it and I'm like, I feel like I'm now getting to where it's compromising the range of motion. So I did this for the first 2 sets. And I'm like, let's take the third set and just grab the 45 again and focus on the pause at the bottom. So I did all this pause reps so that I get the deepest stretch that my shoulders will go. But isn't that how we improve mobility, right? A loaded full range of motion into those positions. That's how we get there. So the final set, I'm like, let's do that. And I think as I mess with the pullover more and more again, I want to rotate back to that. If I just take a 45 and continue to push more range of motion, it's probably going to get more out of it, because this just starts fatiguing me without feeling like I'm getting the most muscle working, especially things like the chest. And I get a tricep exercise out of this. So I'm not going to count any of the pressing as a tricep movement. I don't think I need to in terms of my total volume, but I am going to count the pullover. Why? Because the pullovers hit my triceps. I feel my triceps burn and cramp just as much as any type of extension from the pullover, especially if I push them to the limit, like hard sets. So unlike the flat bench and the incline, I'm not going to count those. But if I count the pullovers and extensions, then what do we end up with today? 14 sets of direct tricep work. And I think that the pullover counts. It is absolutely a tricep, especially that long head. The pressing and stuff's the lateral, but that long head's the big one. That's really where I need to continue to hammer down. So when I did this, feel like we're getting that deeper stretch, deeper range of motion. And this was a hard set. Like I didn't feel like I had more than about a rep left because of the pauses. So again, want to get that pausing, get that stretching in. And again, if that means that I have to sacrifice load to get it, that's okay. Why? Because we're going to get the big loads on the barbell movements. At this point, this is just bodybuilding. Build the muscle, build the muscle, build the muscle with hard sets, even with higher reps. And I may need to reduce the weight a little on some of this stuff because I'm noticing this really beat my triceps up. After doing this, my triceps were so fatigued. I almost struggled with other stuff. Especially when I got to the next extensions, I did them okay. But after that, I couldn't even do my normal reps with the dumbbells. So again, it let me know that my triceps got worked harder than usual by doing all this. Between that and then when I went to these extensions, I'm like, let me drop the weight down. Let's quit trying to ego lift this movement. And let's take it to as far as my triceps will stretch down. Okay? But again, we come over to how do we do that? How do we improve those ranges of motion? Because again, I have probably some calcification and stuff in my shoulders that does seem to prevent these. But this is how we do that. Try to push the pullovers further. Try to push these extensions into a little bit deeper of a stretch. Let's just hammer against that long head. Get the stretch that I am capable of getting. So notice those are a lot of pause reps. And yeah, I struggled with 10s dropping down to this. And normally I've done 10s with 20 pounds heavier. I did 6s with 30 pounds heavier. But is it costing me that range of motion? And at the end of the day, that range of motion matters, especially those lengthened positions. Because I'm going to get the contraction on the bands. I'm going to get the contraction on the bands. So really this is about the lengthened position. And I can make the case that I may not even need the dumbbell extensions. I feel like between this and the press downs, I might have everything I need, but I don't take that approach with biceps, do we? We take 4 exercises. So I feel like I should consider leaving the dumbbells in just for hitting a different angle, right? Because again, my arms need the most work. You know, if my chest is going to get 3 or 4 different exercises, and so are my lats, then yeah, my biceps and triceps need that also. And I could take that approach to it. You know, we could take that approach. And so this ended up giving me more sets, direct sets for triceps and some other things. Because I count the pullovers, guys. I have to. Like, they are so tricep dominant for me. And it could be because my triceps are a weaker link. But again, if my chest and triceps both come up, that will help my overall aesthetics. And we can't argue that they're small or weak. It's just relative to things like my back and legs. So context, guys, I'm doing rep work with 315 with a long range of motion on the bench. But it is an issue of people forget because they see the proportion and don't realize next to some smaller guy, my chest, my pecs and my triceps and arms will look pretty big. It's that I'm 215 pounds. Okay, so everything else is bigger. So what do? We just work it. We work it, bodybuild the hell out of it. So yeah, we keep our flat benching in, but everything else has to be about thick. Build all these muscles up, maximize them. So the same thing here, I'm running out of steam. My triceps were shot. Like, this is a weight I normally could do 15, 16 reps. But because I did this other stuff, what does that tell me? It tells me my triceps got worked harder. They got worked harder. So at this point, my triceps are just screaming. They're like, we don't have anything left, but it's like we have to keep hitting them. Build that work capacity. Continue to work that muscle. Continue to hammer away at it. You have to. Again, get the gains. And then after these 3 sets of these, which again, I struggled with even 10s, with a weight I can do 15 with a lot of times. Because again, triceps are fatigued. But look at all the pressing we did first. All that barbell pressing was a lot. And then on the press downs, I did 6 sets. I recorded all 6, but this vlog is going to be 15 minutes long with only 2 sets. So what direction did I go with the press downs? I'm like, let me go with the heavier band. And instead of the super fast like I used to do, let's focus on the squeeze. Okay? So what I tried to do is contract as hard as possible against the band at the lockout, even try to briefly hold it if possible on a lot of the reps. So instead of the super fast, just controlled, and I ended up getting anywhere from about 15 up to about 19 reps and hit failure on all 6 sets. So that's what I ended up doing, just like this, right? Let's just focus on that squeeze. Now we get a contracted, shortened position in on an exercise because we had all that stretch work. So then we work the other end of the equation, and I did 6 total sets of these to again make sure that my triceps got thoroughly worked. So triceps got 14 sets today. if we don't count any of the pressing. So again, good workout, super happy with it for the most part. Again, got lots of chest and tricep work, a lot of quality work in, and I'm going to leave them alone for the next week other than, say, the stuff that gets hit on the shoulder day with all the overhead pressing. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.